And now, foul demon, face the vengeance of the moonknight.
Superheroes are known for one thing, having superpowers. Some of them have just a single ability. For example, Beast Boy can turn into any animal he wants. The Human Torch can set himself and everything around him on fire. And Tony Stark is very rich.
Oh, actually, he's the boss. I just pay for everything and design everything and make everyone look cooler.
But others, like the Moon Knight, are so clustered with abilities that it isn't even fair to the superhero community. Today, we're going to rank Moon Knight's most powerful abilities in his arsenal. But before we begin, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss another episode just like this one. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Off the mat, I can already tell that most of you who only follow the cinematic universe probably haven't even heard of Moon Knight until now. So allow me to put you up to speed. Marc Spector, aka the Moon Knight, is one of Marvel's most infamous heroes who got his powers from Khonshu, the Egyptian god of vengeance. Before getting his powers, he worked and died as a mercenary for the CIA, and after getting his powers, he saved over 1,000 lives, brutally tortured criminals, and became one of New York's most recognized street-level superheroes. I know, that's quite an achievement for someone people barely know, but after taking a closer look, you'll notice a similarity between him and Batman, except he is more like Batman with multiple personalities and actual superpowers. Sorry Bruce, I'm actually a fan. The Moon Knight is so powerful that we had to make a list and scale up all his abilities according to strength. So without further delay, here are Moon Knight's top 10 abilities based on their strengths. Number 10. Moon-based powers. Probably his weakest ability is one that even Batman wished he had. Once again, I'm sorry Bruce. The moon-based powers are more of a physique enhancement for the Moon Knight, which earned him the nickname Fist of Khonshu in 1985. This ability increases his speed, endurance, and strength. Oh, and they're all based on the lunar cycle. This means the fuller the moon gets, the stronger he becomes. Don't forget, this is supposed to be the weakest ability though. Although after a while, the Moon Knight lost this power as punishment for some kind of disobedience. We couldn't pick out much authenticity from the hundreds of opinions fans had on the reason behind this, so for both your sanity and ours, let's leave it at that. Number 9. Resistant to psychic attacks. Part of having a godlike body means most physical attacks probably won't even work on you. But the Moon Knight pushes the boundaries of that stereotype a bit further by having a vessel immune to psychic attacks. Thanks to the Moon Knight's multiple personalities, no supervillain can brainwash or even predict his moves. We got to see all of that good stuff in the Moon Knight issue 12, when he went up against the Profile. Besides having the ability to analyze the person he looks at, the Profile could also predict their actions. That alone makes him a force to be reckoned with, but not for Moon Knight. Although the Profile's abilities don't work on people with superpowers, it was weird to see it fail against Moon Knight, who at the time didn't have any powers. The Profile believed that the reason behind it was either magic is real or Mark was just too insane to read. However you take it, it doesn't change the fact that this ability deserves a spot on our list. Number 8. Mercenary skills. Before he was known as the Moon Knight, Marc Spector was a mercenary for the CIA, and before that, he was in the US Marine Force, and for a brief moment, he was also a heavyweight boxer. No wonder Khonshu chose him. I mean, with that resume, he could have easily worked for any god he wanted. Odin. He spent a while before becoming a mercenary for the CIA, but a bad mission in Egypt almost and could have been the end of Marc Spector. That is, until Khonshu offered him a second chance, which he accepted. But despite being an Earth avatar for Khonshu, Mark still didn't forget his military and mercenary training. He was an expert in fighting styles like Kung Fu, Muay Thai, boxing, savate, judo, ninjutsu, karate, and even more. Oh, and he was an excellent pilot too. Like I said, he could easily work for any god he wanted, but Khonshu probably just got lucky. Number 7. Werewolf Hunter. In his very first comic appearance, the Moon Knight was initially brought in as a supernatural expert and a werewolf hunter. He was also a villain before that who freed captured werewolves to fight alongside him. But after a while in later issues of the comic, the Moon Knight returned, but this time as a demonic werewolf hunter. Think of him as the Alucard, but strictly for werewolves if that makes sense. Number 6. Visibility. Believe it or not, the Moon Knight fights so hard to be seen that he wears a full white costume. Unlike his DC counterpart who relies more on stealth, the Moon Knight wants to be seen, which in his world counts as a brand of fear. We can argue that he wears a white costume because the moon is white, but such a reason doesn't particularly make sense. But then again, I guess he shouldn't really mind showing himself to the bad guys more than a mile away because we're literally making a top 10 list of his superpowers. So why would he care about flying bullets? Although visibility shouldn't count as a superpower, the fact that it can intimidate and mind his opponents makes it a very powerful ability. Number 5. 10 different personalities. Part of Marc Spector's most defining trait is his dissociative identity or multiple personality disorder. Over the years, some of the creative team working on the Moon Knight character tried to tie down this mental illness to Khonshu's personality. But regardless of that, we have seen a total of 10 different personalities of Marc in the comics. He has the personality of a rich businessman named Stephen Grant. The second is a cab driver named Jake Lockley, who is very talented at chit-chatting his way into important street intel on some criminals and their activities. The third is Mr. Knight, an official detective for the NYPD, while others include iterations of both the Avengers and X-Men like Wolverine, Echo, Iron Man, Captain America, and Spider-Man, all of which he manifested during the 2011 Moon Knight series. Interestingly enough, these set personalities did give him useful advice whenever called upon. Hell, he even ends up using his variation of their signature weapons and moves just to look more authentic. Although we don't fully lean on his multiple personalities being a superpower, we do believe that the shift in perspective has been very useful to Spector in more ways than one. Even the rich guy Steve Grant helps to keep Spector's sanity in check, especially after such a violent past. Number 4. Moon Knight's tech. Just like another rich masked vigilante, I'm sure we all know by now that the Moon Knight possesses quite a lot of expensive and extraordinary tech. First is his advanced truncheon, which can split into 2 different combat clubs and can also be used as nunchucks. Then there's the traditional grappling hook because every vigilante needs that. There's also the flying darts because why not? A remote-controlled limousine, a glider, and the mooncopter, which I think is the coolest tech. I'm sure you'll all agree. Just because we're all on the same page, I'll introduce this brilliant gadgetry more conveniently. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me the esteemed pleasure of introducing the Moon Knight's Mooncopter. From the glistening $1 million white exterior painting to the spacious interior housing, this beauty is truly one for the history books. It comes equipped with stealth and combat options, and 20mm cannons that pack a punch like God's own fist. That's all for the Mooncopter, folks. Let's continue our video. The Moon Knight also wears an advanced suit made of adamantium, which also has a function that allows him to carry more weight than humanly possible. Speaking of tech, that brings us to the Moon Knight's next strongest power. Number 3. The Shadow Cabinet. This is more of a vast network of information from both informants and agents, all of which are sent to a sophisticated computer network. Most of the time, the agents don't even know they're sending crucial information to the Moon Knight. Some of them do it for payment, while others just want to see the bad guy get caught. The Shadow Cabinet is a tech straight out of the future. It uses holoprojection rings attached with a one-way communicator, which allows only the Moon Knight to see and talk to whomever he is in communication with. Number 2. Tough durability. What's a superhero if he can't take a punch or a bullet like a champ? Thankfully, the Moon Knight can do both. He has an almost superhuman tolerance for pain, which makes him endure punches in battle. The Moon Knight also has a peculiar pattern of not blocking punches while in a fistfight. That way, he can focus more on landing his own punches on his opponents, or as he so frantically puts it, saying, "It's never about speed or slick moves or reflexes that make you the best fighter ever. It's all about what you can take." Yes, this is a crazy ability for anyone to have, but it still isn't the strongest ability that the Moon Knight has in his arsenal. Which brings us to the number 1 power on this list. Number 1. Resurrection. Remember when we said he died as a mercenary earlier in this video? Well, that's because he literally did die before getting his powers at the hands of fellow mercenary Raoul Bushman. Unfortunately for him, his heart stopped before he was brought to Khonshu's temple, and while he first encountered Khonshu, in reality he was already dead. But after he was revived as the moon god's earthly avatar, he gained the ability to resurrect after any death. Ever since his first death, Marc was revived again, this time after dying from a fatal injury he got during an explosion. The Moon Knight died a total of 3 times, and got revived thanks to the Egyptian moon god. To be honest, I expected that number to be higher because I'm sure if anyone had a free get-out-of-death card in the form of Khonshu, then we'd all live a carefree life. Having the ability to escape death whenever you want is without a doubt the most powerful ability imaginable, so it shouldn't be a surprise that it is number 1 on this list. There you have it, our top 10 Moon Knight powers ranked. Tell us what you think about the Moon Knight and his abilities in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already or just forgot, then hit that like and subscribe button if you never want to miss more entertaining content from this channel. Hasta la vista!